started flowing down my face.
Further ado, let's get to the video.
Let's get straight to it.
That was a little too aggressive, you feel me?
That shit was hella aggressive. I ain't gonna lie. I was kind of.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta come a little smoother than that.
Let's get straight to it.
I ain't come out with a Navy video in like a week. My bad for being a little inactive. It's just been a really stressful time in my life, you know. But I'm gonna get right into the story. So, we just get back from a detachment. The month is March. An attachment is where we, as a squadron, go on the boat for like a month or a couple weeks or something. So we get back and it's just mass chaos. Everybody's losing tools, everybody's yelling at each other, all this other stuff. And me being a low-ranking person, I have no authority. I can't say anything out the box to anybody, or that would that I think is out the box. So 2 weeks go by, people are still like, it's still going on. It's still mass chaos. Like, it hasn't stopped. Like, it's just that bad at this point. And I feel targeted. Like, I'm getting B-worded at like every day, and it's blowing me. I'm not like expressing myself by saying like, don't talk to me like that, I don't appreciate that type stuff, like, cause the way I would address stuff like that was really unprofessional back home, you feel me? So I didn't want to like, cause I didn't know how to stand up for myself in a way that wouldn't be like offensive or unprofessional. A couple weeks go by and I have a panic attack, right? And I'm just thinking like to myself, I like gotta find a way to release my anger. But I don't, right? Another 2 weeks go by and we're about to go on another detachment to where we are right now, which is Fallon. So we're getting ready to go to Fallon and all this other stuff. I'm doing this wash with my one coworker, and one of the female trainees comes up to me, and she's like mad. She like, you could just tell like she was like heated, like steams were coming out of her head and stuff. But she comes up to me and she just starts like yapping, and she's like, I'm tired of everybody in the shack, like they piss me off and all this other stuff. And then she's like, do you want to do fuel samples or the move? Because I was supposed to do fuel samples with her, but she also didn't want to do the move because they were pissing her off. So I'm like, so I do the move for her because I didn't want her to flip out on nobody, because that's just stupid, right? It's ironic though, and you'll see why. So I get to the move spot, and there's this other female trainee. I'm not gonna say her name. And me and her are like always like joking at each other, like just talking mad mess all the time. And it's always playful. It's always usually playful. So I say to her, I call the side with no chalks. And I say that because I did the side with chalks like twice or 3 times or something out of like the 4 moves we did that day. And so we get in there, we do the move, we get to the jet. I call her name, right? And she like rolls her eyes like this, looks away. So I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, is you cool? And all this other stuff. Then my one friend that I was doing the wash with goes up to her and starts talking to her, right? And while they're talking, I hear my name and attitude in the same sentence. And I'm just thinking like, where or when did I have an attitude? Like I was literally just like this. I caught a side with chalks or with no chalks. I had no type of attitude when I said that, right? So she says that, and it makes me feel some type of way, right? And I'm just thinking like, bruh, I'm tired of this girl. I'm about to flip out on her. And it just started building up more and more. And I was like, oh yeah, F that. I'm releasing this. So I say a few choice words. I call her out of her name, whatever. Then then I walk away and we do the move. We get back inside the shack. And once I sit down, the two supervisors at the time were just fed up with us. And I just felt insulted the way they were talking to me, and it just built up on top of what happened with the one female trainee. It just all built up to a point where I was just like, F this. And then they tell us to go while they're like bickering at us, they tell us to go put the line to bed, which is when we put the covers on and chains. We put the covers and chains on. So after they say whatever they had to say, I just got salty and just started talking mad-ish. I was like, I ain't gonna say what I said because it's not family friendly at all. So I said what I had to say, and I walked out while I was saying it, right? So I walked to the line to try and calm myself down. I get calm and I start putting the line to bed. While I'm putting the line to bed, I look around to the left and right of me and I see nobody at all helping me, right? So I was the only one putting the line to bed. So I go back to the shack and I see one of the PCs that was on watch. It wasn't his shift, he was on watch, right? So he's doing watch. And I see him, I go up to him, and I ask him, where's everybody at? And then he was like, so-and-so and so-and-so were still doing fuel samples, but the one female trainee that said I had an attitude was still inside chilling. So at that point, I was like, oh yeah, it's over. I'm about to go buck wild. So I go to the door of the shack, right? And I see her on her phone just chilling there. And I'm like, oh yeah, nah, F all that. So I say to her, and like there's like 5 people in there, 10 people, something like that. So I say to her, get the F up. Like you just chilling there on your phone, always like just doing nothing. You annoying as F, all this other stuff. I just talked crazy to her. Then she was like, first off, don't talk to me. And as soon as she said that, or even before she could even get the whole thing out, I was like, I just did. Then I walked away, right? While I was walking away, I was so mad to the point where I just started bouncing up and down like I'm about to like a boxer, you feel me? Like Muhammad Ali type ish. And I was just like, I just want to punch something. Like I'm tired of this. Like I'm about to punch the jet or something. And so I'm walking to the jet. And my one friend comes up to me and tries to calm me down, and I'm just going crazy. Like I'm like so fed up at that point. Then the one female trainee comes up, and she just starts yapping, just starts talking mad-ish. Like it was like, oh my God, like I've never heard so much ish talk in my life. And we just start barking at each other. And she starts to get closer. So I'm like, get the F away from me before I jaw you. And I know, like you should never say nothing like that to nobody, no female, especially no female. But at that point, I was so fed up with her and everything that was going on. Like I just felt like I was being like. Anyways, before Casper walked in this bit, I was just so fed up with her, and I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't hold it in, and it just came out in the way that you should never let come out. Like you should never get to that point. You should never hold anything in, never hold your anger in to the point where you say some outlandish stuff to a person like that. Like I completely messed up, and it led to some even worse stuff, right? So all that happens, she also ended up saying to me, "I'll beat your butt" or something. I don't remember what it was. My one friend remembers what it was because he was chill and like he had a clear mind. Like she knows what she said. And he got, everything chills out for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Then QA comes in and talks to me. And they're like, "What happened? Blah, 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 blah." I tell them what happened. And they're understanding. Like, they understand why it happened. And, like, they were like, it happens a lot. Like, being around the same people every day that you might get along with can do that to you, right? A week goes by. We get to Fallon. 2 days of being in Fallon, I get to work, and my chief walks up to me, and he's like, "Jackson, well, so tell me what's been going on, man. Like, how are you feeling?" And I tell him. Then he's like, "Okay, well, you have DRB tomorrow. Come in your NWUs and be there at 1600. So I'm just thinking to myself, like, damn, it really got to that point. Like, it really didn't need to get to that point. I thought it was all squash. I even forgot about it. I completely forgot about it. Because when he asked me, he was like, "So what happened last week?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "The thing that happened last week." And then I was like, "Oh," and I remembered. But yeah, so the next day comes. I show up to work at 1600, and usually we show up to work at 18 because we're on 12 off, 12 on, right? So I show up to work at 16, and my AME1 takes me outside to tell her the story before I go and tell all these chiefs the story, right? So I do that. Then we go up there, and this is like where the fried stuff happens, all the stupid stuff that made me feel some type of way. So we get up there. I go up there with my AME1, and she goes inside the room, the chief's mess. So I'm standing outside, and my chief comes out, gives me the rundown of everything I'm supposed to do. 2 steps in, 2 steps left, and then look at my CMC. Keep that in mind. He tells me all that. Then he goes inside. Then he's like, "Wait 5 seconds." Before he goes inside, he's like, "Wait 5 seconds of me being in there." So he goes inside. Then I wait 5 seconds. I knock on the door 3 times. He tells me to come in. I do the 2 steps forward, right? Then I do the 2 steps left. And then I face the front of the desk, all right? And when I faced the front of the desk, I was not looking at my CMC. I was not in front of him. I was like, "Oh my God, I'm about to get fucked or messed up." So I turn back right. Or no, I look at him. Before I do that, I look at my CMC like, oh, like I just messed up off rip. Like it already looked bad. So I turn right with the quickness. And then I turn back in front of the desk and look at my CMC. So then he reads me my rights, right? And I sign this paper, whatever. So then he's like, "So tell me what happens." I tell him what happens. And then they just start going off on me. My CMC's like, "So basically what you just told me is you don't like to follow orders. You don't know how to control your anger, which is a sign of weakness to me. And you don't want to do your job. You don't want to be here. And you don't take this seriously." And then he started going off on my hair, my appearance, and all this other stuff. All the stuff that happens normally in DRB. And everybody told me this prior to me going. So I expected it. Like, I was like, okay, whatever. But they didn't, like, freak out on me, you know? Like how they usually do in DRB. They were just chilling. Like, they were just, like, calm, like, about it. So he says all that. And then the chief was like, "So what makes you think it's okay for you to give an order in a disrespectful manner, but you can't take an order in any manner?" And I was like, no, Chief, that's not the case at all. And then he's like, yes, it is. That's literally what you just told me. And I'm just like, no, Chief, that's not what I meant. I was mad at the way that he said the order, not that he gave the order, right? And he's like, no, again, right? And I tried to correct him again, and then the female chief was like, no, that's what you meant. And I just shut up after that. I was like, okay, Chief. Look straight down. I was like, okay, I'm not about to do some dumb stuff and argue with a chief. Like, that's stupid. Then the master chief, the female master chief, started saying or asked me, like, did she try to make any physical advances on you or like try to punch you or anything? And I was like, yes. And I was like, and then she was like, how do you know? And I was like, respectfully requesting permission to show you what she did, Chief or Master Chief. And then she was like, go ahead. And so I showed her. And what she did was literally, this is like exactly what she did. She walked up to the aircraft, because I was behind it, so she walked up to it, and then she got up to the wing of it and like bulked up like this and was biting her lip like that. And my one friend stopped her, so nothing happened. But yeah, I told her that. They all went quiet, and then my CMC started talking again. And for some reason, I just started, no. And no, before I tell you that, this is where it gets juicy. So my CMC is like, so why did you join the Navy, Jackson? And I tell him to go to college, but I wasn't finished. He cuts me off, or not cuts me off, but he stops me, and he's like, I know millionaires who never went to college. Give me a good reason that made you want to join the Navy. And so I was like, I know, Chief, or I know I know CMC, but that wasn't all. I want to go to college to play football. And once I said that, he was like, oh, okay. He understood. You know that look people give you when they understand something that you're saying, like they like sympathize with what you're saying or whatever. That's the look he gave me. So then he kept going on, and then he said something, and it like hit me so hard that I just started, like, I was straight faced as hell like this and at attention, or at like it wasn't really attention. It was like a kind of attention because I couldn't close my fist because I was shaking so bad. I was like so nervous. And I was just like, or no, he was like, are your parents proud of you? And once he said that, I was like, yes. But when I said yes, it was like in a quivering voice. And like tears just started flowing down my face. And I was like, I kept the straightest face while it was happening. Like I couldn't stop myself. And so they all just like were like looking at me like this, like sympathizing with me or empathizing with me. So he said that. Then he was like, do you have siblings? He said, do you have siblings? And I was like, yes, CMC. And after that, there was no stopping the waterworks. CMC just tries to like calm me down, and it was like he was like no longer on my butt. Like he no longer said, trying to make me feel better. It was like, you got to do this, you got to better yourself, you got to do all this other stuff. Like you'll be fine, Jackson. And then he said, at first I didn't believe you. And I know why he said that. It's because of like how like my everything about me when I was in there was just terrible. My military bearing, the way I was telling the story, because I just started drifting off. because I was so nervous. Like I was low-key terrified because there was like 10 chiefs in there. There's like there's a couple. No, it was CMC, and then there was a master chief in there, and a senior chief, and like 7 other chiefs. So then he was like, I didn't believe you at first, but now I believe you. Like, you're obviously telling the truth. And at that point, I was just water working. Like, I couldn't stop crying, and I ended up getting out of military bearing completely. They would normally like make you stay in military bearing, but like he understood. Like I was being genuine. I was being so genuine. And while I was crying, I was thinking, like, damn, man, y'all hit every single spot, like every single emotional spot, and I just felt violated, I guess. I felt like I wasn't a man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I haven't cried in a minute, like a really long time. But what they were telling me was just making me like water work. It was so bad. So he tells me to wait outside, and he'll come get me when they come to a conclusion of what should happen. So I go outside, and I'm still crying. I'm like shedding tears. There's other sailors down the hallway and all this other stuff, and I'm just like, damn, bro, like, stop crying, bro. Like, you a man, you shouldn't be crying. And I know, like men cry, like, it's okay to cry, and I know that, but I felt like so violated when I did it. Like, I felt so, not violated, actually, vulnerable. I felt way too vulnerable, and I was like low-key mad at myself, you know? So then my chief comes out, and he's like, Jackson, come here, man. He talks to me for a second, and he's like, I will gladly help you with anything you need, anytime. And that was that. So I go back to work. But yeah, it's a crazy story. I will never, like, basically the moral of the story, like, do not ever let your anger build up to a point where you will regret it. Because once it comes out, it's going to come out bad. Like, it's going to come out in a really terrible way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to be able to stop it if you just let that stuff build up. Like, you got to find ways to get it out of your system, you know? But yeah, I appreciate y'all for watching. I'm sorry I ain't come out with a video about the Navy in a minute, but thanks for watching my channel. Thanks for watching my videos. Thanks for watching this vid. Like, comment, and subscribe. And